All right. What's up, co-consults? So I'm sorry I had to start the live a little early. I'm exhausted. I'd like to go to bed early. So we're starting early. So I did not want to know the verdict because I followed today's proceedings up until I don't remember the time, but I know that Bev Canoni got on the bench and I was like, time for me to go. And I switched over to, is it the Preppy Boy, Preppy Kid Murder, or whatever that trial is titled. So I switched over to that. I got home. I've been doing my very best not to get on YouTube. Literally, I've not been looking at the news. I took my shower, started cooking, and then Reddit ruined it for me. Reddit literally ruined it for me. I did not go on Reddit. I was avoiding Reddit the whole time, but I do get court TV notifications. So they send me the notification, but I did not watch the proceedings. But I do know what the verdict is. Let us hold on. Let me find. I need to get a tab. Let's get a tab in here. Let us open a tab. I have way too many tabs open. I need to shut some of this stuff down. I have too many tabs open. It's ridiculous. But I do want to get started up here. What's up, Benji? Benji, I just said that I was trying to avoid the verdict the whole time. Avoided the news, avoided YouTube, but then Reddit ruined it for me. I still did not watch the reactions. I know what the verdict is, but I did not watch anything. So this is what we're doing here. I'm just trying to open up. I need to close this. It's taking forever. I need to open up a tab from here on out. I'm glad this trial is coming to an end. I had estimated we'd have a verdict or predicted we'd have a verdict today or tomorrow. I did not expect this time around to take as long as the first trial because I know you didn't watch the first trial, but if I'm not mistaken, the first trial jurors had deliberated. My numbers might be off. I don't remember if it was 29 hours or 27 hours. One of the two. Oh, I don't want to. Hold on. I want to. Okay, hold on. I know I'm acting like a goddamn baby, but I want to. Hold on. Law and crime. I, I don't want anybody to ruin this for me. I don't want YouTube to ruin this for me. I don't want to watch any of the videos. I just want to get to the actual live, find the spot, and then we'll. Oh, something's going on. I don't know what that is. So let us move on. All right, let me share my screen. What's up, Jason? Let me share my screen. After this, I don't exactly know what trial we're moving to. I don't know that I can do that preppy trial, preppy boy, whatever the trial out of Connecticut. I don't know I can do that because it's let's full screen. I don't want to see anything else. But I am aware of the verdict again. Like I said, um, I am part of the Core TV subreddit. And so they send me a notification. It was delayed notification, but I still know what the verdict is. But I do want to see everything for myself because I've been somewhat invested. All right, let's get in here. Let's get in here. I need Brooklyn up here because Brooklyn has been wishy-washy. I still think Brooklyn might be two people. Maybe Brooklyn is play. Yeah, don't tell me. Don't tell me, Jason. Don't tell me. Don't tell me, Jason. Let's get. Okay, I think was this it? This may have been it. Again, I did not watch today's. I watched up to a point and then I stopped. Okay, so the clock stopped at 20 hours. No, it's still going. Or maybe they just have it going because they don't know. All right, let's see.
You are
Jason, do you know anything about the Brian Kohlberger case? I believe there was a hearing scheduled for today. Could not watch it. this evening I was trying to find out if this trial will be going in a few weeks, but there's some reports about a possible delay, and then there's some surprise witness, which is I don't know what to make of that. I do not know what to make of that.
Muted.
All right, come on.
You see the court is in session.
All right. I appreciate you all getting back here. During the luncheon break, I received word from a court officer that the jury had knocked on the door, indicating that they had a verdict.
Ooh.
But before I could even summons everybody into court,
Yeah, this is when I had clicked off. When I saw Bev Canoni get on the bench, I'm like, time for me to go.
shortly thereafter, they knocked again and said they didn't have a verdict.
What?
So I asked the court officer to tell them to put that verdict slip in an envelope and seal it,
Okay.
and to give it to us. Paul, do you have it?
Wait, so I have questions. Okay, now they're just confusing me. They're confusing me. So they had a verdict, did not have a verdict, and Bev Canoni said, "Give me the fucking envelope." That's basically what she's saying.
Thank you.
Okay.
I haven't seen this. It's been sealed. I'm now going to seal it in the legal sense. So this is sealed. No one will have access to
Okay, now I have real questions, and I have real questions. Because to me, this was just supposed to be a closing chapter. This was supposed to be the end, and I'd move on to another trial. But now I have questions. I'd like to see some of the jury interviews if they do choose to be interviewed, because I have questions about, okay, they've reached a verdict and then suddenly they have not reached a verdict.
it. It will be preserved and made part of this record.
Okay.
I'm going to ask it to be marked for identification with the word jury, Chrissy, just to keep it separate and apart from everything else. So it's marked for ID with the word jury.
Okay. This is confusing.
All right. So we do not have a verdict because, as we all know, there is no verdict until it is announced and recorded in open court. So we are still awaiting a verdict. Because it took a while to pull this together, I would ask that everybody remain in the building until the end of the day.
They need to.
So we'll see everybody.
They need to unseal that. What? I guess I can watch this part. What on earth? Okay. So let us. Okay, they're back. What, 30 minutes later? All right, the verdict's in. Okay, now I'm puzzled. Somebody needs to unseal the other verdict form because I need to know what's going on. Come on. Okay. Okay, false alarm. Okay, then the real verdict. What the hell? She looks concerned. I don't know what's going on. Maybe tired.
Will the deliberating jurors remain standing? Defendant remains standing. All other parties may be seated.
Your Honor, may the record reflect that 12 deliberating jurors and 6 alternates are present.
Yes.
May I inquire?
Yes.
Mr. Foreman, members of the jury, have you agreed upon a verdict? Yeah.
I have more interest in the previous slip. That's what I'd like to know. I need to know what's going
See the
on.
papers?
Again, I have never seen a lot of things that I see on these law and crime, trials and court TV. I've not seen some of this nonsense in real life.
Mr. Foreman, have the verdict slips been placed in this envelope and have they been in your presence ever since? Yes.
Okay. You're looking at appearance. Oh, she appears to be more blue today. I suppose it has something to do with John O'Keefe.
Mr. Foreman, on docket number 2282CR117001, murder in the second degree, what say you? Is the defendant at the bar guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
So say you, Mr. Foreman?
Okay, so this is different from the ASAP Rocky, because when ASAP Rocky heard that first not guilty, it literally went crowd serving. Well, no, I guess it's not a real crowd because it's a courtroom, but he served into his wife or girlfriend or partner, whoever she is.
So say you? No. Do you agree?
Yes.
Do all of you agree? So say you? No. Do you agree?
Yes.
Do all of you agree? Thank you. 002, what say is the defendant at the bar?
This is nerve-wracking. Yannetti has his eyes closed shut.
Are not guilty or guilty?
Not guilty.
Of.
Is not guilty or guilty about that charge or any lesser included charge? Thank you. Specifically, number 5, operating under the influence of liquor by operating a motor vehicle with a blood alcohol level of 0.08 or greater.
Okay, so that explains the third question that the jurors asked of Bev Canoni yesterday.
Correct? Yes. So say you, Mr. Foreman?
Guilty.
So say you all?
Yes.
003, what say is the defendant at the bar leaving the scene after accident resulting in death? Is the defendant not guilty or guilty?
Not guilty.
So say you, Mr. Foreman?
Oh,
So
so the crowd is going crazy. The folks outside
Well,
are going crazy.
Jurors, hearken your verdict as the court records it. You upon your oath say the defendant.
Are they live streaming outside? They are crazy outside. They are live. What's up, Real Thing? What's up? What's up? I knew Real Thing would be up here today.
On 001 is not guilty. On 002 is guilty of operating in the
They are
influence of liquor.
losing their
And
minds.
003 not guilty. Thank you.
All right, jurors, everybody please be seated.
Okay.
Jurors, we thank you for your service. We're going to send you back to service as complete. I'm going to come back and talk to you for a little bit afterwards. So thank you very much.
All rise.
All right. Oh, is that it?
Follow me.
No, we need an interview. Karen Reed has done so much talking, a lot of unnecessary talking. We need an interview. Now, this is the right time for her to give an interview. We need a book. We need something. We need a movie deal. Like, give us something, okay? Give us. Is this the end? No, we need to check out this out. All right. This is so freaking uneventful because I've invested so much time. I've invested a lot of time in following this trial. And then within 2 seconds, it's over. I've only been here for like 13 minutes. It's over. That's crazy. All right. Real Thing says that I'm just here to hear all about, of course, listen, Real Thing. I've explained this before. Hank Brennan is definitely in this entire trial. Hank Brennan is the most outstanding attorney. He has the best skills of any and every other attorney in this trial. I've said it from the beginning. The prosecution had zero way around Michael Proctor. I don't care even if Karen Reed, besides her taking shards of glass out of his nose and admitting to actually having said she hit him, not knowing how many times she said she hit him, I do not exactly know what possibly, I don't know how a jury possibly could have reached a guilty verdict with Michael Proctor. The difference is, in the first trial, he was still on the job. I think he was suspended or something along those lines, but he was not completely, he was not fired. In this trial, he's fired, not because he's eating too many donuts on the job. He was fired as it relates to this investigation. Listen, I have done prosecution and defense. Being a prosecutor is difficult. Proving a case beyond a reasonable doubt is very difficult. That's why a lot of people switch over to defense, because defense is actually very easy. You don't have to do as much work as prosecution. Proving a case beyond a reasonable doubt is very difficult. As far as the civil, because here's the thing: when I switched over to civil work, okay, I have seen instances where again, it's unrelated because it's what the personal injury or workers' compensation. It's not a criminal case, but there are often holds in the plaintiff's case, and those holds are never case shattering. They're not holds that implode the cases because they're civil cases. But if those same holds existed in a criminal case, we would not be getting paid. We would have no money, or would not make money on those specific cases. But criminal prosecution is absolutely difficult. Absolutely. But I stand by it. Hank Brennan, as far as the caliber of attorney that I have seen on court TV and law and crime, he's definitely at the very top. I mean, unless we were to include, I want to say the Johnny Depp, but I think Hank Brennan is still a better attorney than the attorneys that were in the Johnny Depp case. Hank Brennan is brilliant. Okay, you cannot convince me otherwise. Hank Brennan is really, really good. At least he's a good attorney. I was going to say at his job, but he's not a career prosecutor. She gets sentenced for what? What are you referring to? Okay, so apparently Real Thing's not going to let it go. Don't let it go, but Hank Brennan is definitely brilliant. And even that. And here's the difference. Because, again, what's this place? I don't want to say this as the gospel, because I don't want it to, this is not legal advice, okay? Don't take shit on here as legal advice. But what I found in the, what is this? What I found in the, in most jurisdictions, excluding the feds, but I've mentioned a few weeks ago, I think the federal statistics, I think their conviction statistics will begin. I think their conviction rate is going to go down. Okay. I'm not really gonna get much into politics, but I'll leave it there. Okay. Based on the trends that I've been seeing, I believe the conviction rate at the federal level will fall. I don't know how long it's going to fall for, but at least under this administration, I think it will fall, or at least I've seen some of that already. That said, at the state level, oftentimes state cases are poorly investigated, okay? And because they're poorly investigated, oftentimes if there's always an expectation, not always, but for the most part, there is often an expectation that cases are going to resolve through plea dealings. I've said it over and over again. I hate plea dealing, but that is the reality. Most cases do resolve through plea dealing, because that is oftentimes the reality. Again, I don't know if it might be a combination of a few things, but law enforcement does not always investigate properly. And because law enforcement does not always investigate properly, then the prosecution or the prosecutor's job is more difficult, and the defense oftentimes has, I'm not going to say an easy time, but they do tend to secure more favorable, acquittals. Okay. That's usually the trend. In this Karen Reed case, it does not matter if, God, he or she or they themselves showed up in court. and said, I saw Karen Reed bop that man and she sped off. It does not matter. There is absolutely no way the prosecution could have overcome the Proctor problem. There was no way around it. And the Proctor problem got even worse after he got fired. That does not change the fact that Hank Brennan, I have to go there. That does not change the fact that Hank Brennan is a good prosecutor. He did not investigate the case. He was pretty much brought in to, what is this? To bring this case, or at least for round two. And here's the thing, I've mentioned this before. There's again, we don't know who these people are, but according to Core TV, the makeup of the jury is mostly of younger individuals. As far as the study of juries and trends go, younger jurors tend to favor, in criminal cases, younger jurors tend to favor the defense. And the reason for that is because younger individuals tend to be more skeptical of law enforcement, whereas older jurors tend to vote the other way. The same is also true as it relates to race. When it relates to race, a defense almost always wants a younger jury, because according to studies, a younger jury is less likely to they're less likely to be as racially biased as older jurors. Okay. And again, older jurors much more likely to, either have racial bias or to completely ignore racial bias and not something that they address. So there are trends based on people that actually do study juries that point you in one direction. But here's the other thing with the Karen Reed trial as well. The Karen Reed trial, there was a lot of pre-trial publicity. And I've said it over and over again. As far as a defense move, definitely the dumbest thing I've ever seen. But I've maintained that it made sense from the perspective of trying to reach out to prospective jurors. Under those circumstances, it makes sense. Right now, we do not exactly know if the folks, during voir dire, it was very evident that most people, about 80 to 90% of the people that were called for jury duty, were aware of this trial. What I'm skeptical about is the fact that a lot of these people wanted me, whatever anybody else thought, that's up to them. But the thing is, I am not convinced, and I don't think anybody will ever convince me that out of a jury pool of about 80 to 90 people that have or that were aware of this case, that these people had not formed an opinion. I don't buy that. I don't believe it. And as far as the defense goes, obviously it worked out in their favor under these circumstances. But personally, that is idiotic. That is not something that I would do to my client. And again, the reason I would not put my client in front of the camera is because the prosecution has a Proctor problem. Listen, even if Michael Proctor I keep saying disappeared because I don't want to use the word dead, but people do die. And when we were rewatching the first trial, at least part of the first trial, I had mentioned that even if Michael Proctor had died prior to this second trial or prior to the retrial, that testimony was going to come in regardless. The way that I would have done it differently, though, Enzo, okay, so there's a Proctor Live. We can get into it. Let me see. Jason, can you email me, please, if you're able to? Can you send me the interview that Enzo's referring to? If we can do that, because I was actually going to end the live. But if you guys want to do that, we can definitely watch the 2020 interview. And here's the thing. What I would have done differently, and again, I oftentimes watch these trials in order to hone and sharpen my skills. Okay, I've learned some stuff. Again, there are a bunch of things people should not be doing, and there's some things that attorneys do brilliantly, right? That I plan on adopting. But as far as this trial is concerned, what I would have done, okay, I've mentioned what I would have done differently as defense. What I would have done differently as defense definitely would not have put Karen Reed in front of those cameras, because according to me, it was unnecessary because the prosecution was always going to have that Michael Proctor problem. There was no way around that Michael Proctor problem. The other thing that defense did not do well in this case, I have to go back to what's his name again? Alan Jackson's improper conduct. I stand by that. A real thing, you know me, when it comes to Fannie Willis and all this improper conduct, I don't care how good of an attorney you are, but I do think that attorneys, not only that they should be, but attorneys are held to a higher standard. And based upon that, it was improper for him to have the conversations that he had with, I believe his name was Wolf or somebody along those lines. I don't like attorneys that play dirty. Okay. So if we move on to the prosecution, what I personally would have done differently if I was Hank Brennan, without a doubt, I said it from the beginning, I would have put Michael Proctor on the stand. There was no way around that. Again, the reason why I would have put Michael Proctor on the stand is because Michael Proctor is one of these people. Okay. If Michael Proctor was an outsider, if he was, I don't know, somebody that grew up in India most of their lives and an immigrant around these people, maybe out, even under those circumstances. Because if we go back and we watch when Michael Proctor actually testified, okay, there was no way around the heinous comments he made about Karen Reed. Those were inexcusable. But the difference in that first trial is that you got to hear from Michael Proctor, okay? And when you got to hear from Michael Proctor, he apologized, he owned up to his conduct, and oftentimes, sometimes, that is all that the jury needs to hear. There was no way around Michael Proctor, because they'll then be wondering, what is the prosecution hiding? Why do they not have Michael Proctor on the stand? So those are real questions. But that is what I would have done differently as Hank Brennan. Because even during his opening statement, I was surprised that there was no mention of Michael Proctor. And there was no mention of Michael Proctor. And obviously there was no mention because the prosecution had made the decision to not center their case around Michael Proctor. But the one thing that's often taught, again, I don't know, let's look up Hank Brennan. Where did he go to school? Oftentimes, what is taught in law school is that you cannot hide your bad facts. I told you guys, let's see, this is June, right? So this would have been around March or April. You cannot hide. Let me complete my thought. You cannot hide your bad facts. When you hide your bad facts, that reflects poorly on you because it allows the finder of fact to question whether you're trying to hide the ball. And it also does not give you an opportunity to explain away anything. So under these circumstances, had the prosecution put not Hank, you don't want to put Hank Brennan on the stand, but had the prosecution put Michael Proctor on the stand, that would have given the prosecution and Michael Proctor an opportunity to explain away why he behaved why he behaved in the manner that he did. And that stands a better chance of moving the needle one way as opposed to leaving it the other way. And obviously they're prosecuting this and they're hoping for a conviction. Otherwise, Fever said, damn, this case is still going on. It just came to an end tonight, Fever. I had predicted that it comes to an end today or tomorrow. I do not see it going much longer because Yeah, the case pretty much. What is this? Yeah, the case is done. No, Fever, she was acquitted. Fever said she is guilty of all. No, no, she was acquitted. But here's the other thing that I was gonna say. Don't hide your bad facts, okay? If we go back, I think this must have been March or April, because that's when I sent my client to what is this? An independent medical examiner. The way that works is just in twofold. It's there are a number of reasons for doing it. From my perspective, in workers' compensation, for the most part, there's no real way around it. And the reason for that is because workers' compensation cases are driven by something that's called MMI, or maximum medical improvement. You cannot get a settlement, or the case cannot close out without a doctor actually rating. It sounds weird, but the doctor has to rate a body part. They have to pretty much give an opinion as to a claimant's loss of a body part due to a work injury. So you have to send over all the medical records. Okay. So I found out something that was, I don't know. I still don't know how the adjuster did not catch that. I really do not know how the adjuster did not catch that, because my guy, he was involved in a car crash after the work injury. I don't know, 3-4 months after the work injury, the guy was involved in a car crash, did not tell me. I randomly went into his, what is this? Health, these portals, these medical portals that people often set up. So I went in there, and then I found a record, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is a terrible record. And it was terrible because there's something called an intervening cause. It's applicable in criminal law, in civil. It basically means there's an intervening act, an act of God. Something happens in between that, that severs liability. So under these circumstances, one could argue that Proctor's conduct or misconduct is an act of God. What is this? It severed Karen's alleged conduct from, what's his name again? John O'Keefe's death. So in any event, I found the record. I was not happy with the record because the client did not tell me that he was involved in a car crash and that he injured the same body parts. So I was not happy about that. So I give it to the principal. The principal, that's the owner of the law firm. That's who I work for. And I give it to her, and she's like, we cannot turn this over. I'm like, yes, we are. We're turning this over. We're not giving it directly to the adjuster, because if they're interested, they can get those records themselves. But we have to give it to a medical expert so they can give an opinion and basically distinguish. And that's exactly what the medical expert said. They said that, oh, this guy was injured on this day, but that car crash did not is not an intervening cause. So his claim still stands. So that's to say that you cannot hide your bad facts, because had we not turned that information over, had our expert not opined on that, that would weaken the expert, because the expert could pretty much be questioned about how they reached their opinion. And the opposing side could very easily say, oh, but you did not consider this medical record when you rendered your opinion, so your opinion is incomplete, something along those lines. So you cannot hide your bad facts. All right, let's see. 2020. Going back to Enzo. Jason, did you send me an email? Let me see if I can find that. Let's go here. Let me see if I can find. And my computer's slow. I have way too many tabs. I don't know when I'm gonna stop having a lot of open tabs, but I do have a lot of open tabs on here. Maybe I get through them tomorrow because I'm not working. Tomorrow is Juneteenth, and I get to stay home. Okay, so Fiva said, so the medical experts say she didn't do it, or it was an accident. So the medical expert, and that's why I'm always on the fence about medical experts. What we needed the medical expert to say is that the car crash had no impact on the client's work injuries. And that's exactly what the medical expert said. So, yeah. Enzo said, I don't have Hulu, so I can't watch it. And I was curious what Proctor had to say. I'm sure there's a bootleg version somewhere up here. So, okay, so Fever said this case was a show for real, for real. I know Fever's back when he goes for real, for real. Okay, let's watch the rest of this, though. Let's watch the rest of this. I don't know. I need Real Thing to come up here. I'm going to drop the link. Real Thing, if you're not working, or if you're not too busy, please come up here. I just shared the link. Fever said, yeah, they did say that on Court TV. What did they say, Fever? That they should have brought Proctor? Yeah, the prosecution should have put Proctor up there. There's no way around it. There was no way around Proctor. So while we're at this, though, I might as well, because I've been avoiding Reddit, and Reddit is my source of social media news. So I suppose, what is this? What is this? What am I saying? The Core TV subreddit is jumping. It is jumping. Apparently, what happens next for Brian Higgins and Brian Albert? Not a damn thing. Okay. The prosecution cannot act upon that. And again, the reason why they cannot act upon it is because if they were to bring charges against those individuals, not even that, defense case is going to be very easy under those circumstances. All they have to do is show that Karen Reed was the prime suspect. Okay. Yeah, Real Thing, come up here. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Fever said that the accident wasn't concluded. Fever, dang, Allie, I'm sorry. I started the live early. I was trying to be up here so I can, leave. Jason says, I'm trying to find a full version, of Proctor's interview. Thank you. What's up, Big Allie? The full version of Proctor's will be on YouTube within 24 hours. Well, under those circumstances, I guess I need to come up here tomorrow. I had no plan. So Enzo, subscribe, hit the like button, come back up here tomorrow, and we can talk about Proctor, okay? I had no plans of coming up here tomorrow because it's Juneteenth. It is Juneteenth. I don't know what I was not going to do anything. Yeah, it's on a Thursday, and most celebrations are over the weekend. So, yeah, let's see. All right, Allie, I need you up here. I dropped the link, so you guys feel free to come up here. Otherwise, I'm calling. Is Benji still up here? Benji's so quiet. I guess let's go over these. What is this? The subreddit. Okay, Split Screen 710 says, I'm not shocked because even if you feel she was guilty or not, I don't think prosecution brought a case that could convince the majority beyond a reasonable doubt for murder or manslaughter. If you agree any other theory besides murder, it's not beyond a reasonable doubt. Apparently, that's the bottom line here. Blah, blah, blah. People are concerned with Brian Higgins and all those other people. Okay. I don't know why people hate on Julie Grant. I hate watching Core TV, though, because I don't want to hear about the opinions. Not always. I want to see, do they show the O'Keefe family?
Please exit the courtroom immediately. Karen Reed? Not yet.
Tony,
Hold on, everyone.
Oh.
Karen Reed. Ms. Reed, can I have your attention? As required by statute, I must inform you that the records...
Okay, is that my computer or is that...
Ms. Reed, can I have your attention? As required by statute, I must inform you that the records regarding the charges that you have been found not guilty will be sealed by the Commissioner of Probation by the court unless you notify the Commissioner of Probation in writing within 10 days that you do not want these records sealed. To request that these records not be sealed, you may use the request not to seal form, which is posted on the trial court's website on mass.gov. I cannot accept the form here in court. You must submit it to the Commissioner of Probation at the address provided on the form. Please be aware that if the records regarding the charges which you have been found not guilty are sealed, you will be unable to access the sealed record of the not guilty dispositions or any other records regarding those charges. If you want copies of any documents regarding those charges before the records are sealed, you should request copies from the court within 10 days. Do you understand? Thank you.
All right, so we need a date for sentencing. Can we do it next week?
All right, so here's the thing, folks. One thing about me, I'm not a fake lawyer, okay? Because yesterday, as we're going, oh, real thing's up here. What's up, real thing?
What's up? What's up?
Hey.
How you doing?
Good. So I was just correcting myself because, again, so I have, what is this? 2 predictions that I actually got right. I had not realized that I got the OUI right. Yesterday during the questioning, as the questions came in, and when I got up here, I had concerns about her being convicted on the operating under the influence. Okay, that was what my I guess was, just based on the questions. And then I started listening to a bit of Core TV yesterday. This was commentary from, I think it was a panel. Julie, maybe, I don't know if it was Julie or not. But there were some attorneys up there, and their opinions, they were of the opinion that she was going to get convicted on the second count. So I started second guessing myself, and I'm like, did you get that incorrect? Because to me, as I was listening to the questions, I was under the impression that they were gearing towards a conviction for operating under a motor vehicle. And I mean, you can go watch the live from yesterday. That's what my thought process was. But some other, I was going to say other legal experts. I'm no legal expert. I'm just an attorney. So as far as the legal experts that were brought onto Core TV, they were signaling the second count. And I'm not quite sure why they thought that's where the conviction lied. In any event, opinions, real thing, opinions.
Well, the jurors' questions pretty much told us that it was definitely going to come back on that lesser count of the operating while under intoxicated. So we understood that it seemed like they may have been hung up on it for many reasons. I can understand that. It was even with the testimony of the lab that did the extrapolation and the analysis of her BAC and all of that. I mean, I could see them saying, well, was she really, did they know for sure? Was she intoxicated at 12:45 or 5 a.m.? Technically at 12:45, she wasn't driving. She probably was intoxicated, but according to the evidence, she connected to John's Wi-Fi at 12:36. And then we heard her walking across his garage floor at 12:41 as she was cussing him out on the voicemail. So we know by the time 12:45 came, she was actually probably inside the house. But I'm gonna leave it alone for real. I said I wasn't gonna let it go. Most of us can see that Brennan is a good lawyer. We're not really trying to take nothing away from his skills. We just want a fair analysis of the job he did on this case. And it seems like to you, Brennan cannot do no wrong. And he did do a lot of wrong.
What is the wrong that he did?
Okay, I'm not talking about ethics. Wrong in how he treated some of the witnesses, especially.
Real thing, I'm not even going to go with that.
Okay.
I mean, no, complete what you're saying, but who did he treat? Okay, go on. I'm listening to real thing. All right.
So once the defense put on their case and he was cross-examining their witnesses, we did not like the way that I mean, I get it. Maybe you feel like, and maybe it's a lawyer thing. He's just doing his job uh, to prove the case or try to bring some, I guess, credibility issues
Yeah.
to the witnesses. But when he was cross-examining, in particular, the women, Dr. Russell, La Posada, he was rude. He could be rude. He could be snarky. He's asking questions that we thought, in our opinion, were not even relevant.
Okay.
Number one, it's clear they really didn't have a case. That we go back to that. They really don't have a case. They do have a huge Proctor problem.
Hmm.
So why are they doing all of this? Why did they spend all that money? Why? They We know his flat fee or whatever allegedly is $250,000 to Hank Brennan.
Yeah.
And then I guess there's more billing for his time. And
Mhm.
then we see the invoices that came in from Aperture,
Right.
over $300,000. Why? On a case that they know they don't have. Why did they do this? This is really what is enraging everyone. Why?
Okay.
And just for him to get up there and be nasty to witnesses that have no, they have the education, they had experience.
Yeah.
These are well-respected doctors. And
Not Russell. I'm sorry. Not Russell.
okay.
Not Russell. Okay, so to answer or just to remark on your comments, I completely get it, right? I'll give an example of, oftentimes how, and we've talked about this over and over again. I believe we addressed it in the, dang, that case will forever haunt me. That YSL trial will forever haunt me. We talked about, you know, um, cross examination techniques under, or at least in the YSL trial. And during that trial, I did mention that oftentimes, if you handle a witness with kid gloves, you're much more likely to get, what is this? Much more favorable responses. Okay. But there are ways around it. And if we're going to be fair, we have to, as far as style of cross examination, you cannot, I guess it's not impossible. It, as far as fairness, if you're going to criticize the manner in which Hank Brennan cross examines, then you have to hold Alan Jackson to the same standard. And if you go back to February, I suppose you have to hold Joe Tacopina to the same standard. Okay. That's that's a manner in which some people cross examine. During my prosecution days, I started off cross examining in a much more aggressive manner. But that, I mean, I am in real life, I'm a motherfucking aggressive person. Like that's just me. But I realized that did not give me the responses that I needed. So because I realized that early on, I have switched my style to one where I'm a bit more laid back and it sounds like a conversation. So again, to me, I have no real opinion as to his style of cross examination. There are a number of ways that people cross examine. Oftentimes, if somebody's cross examining, and this is actually one of the, if I go back a few years back, it was I was not on the case. It was not a public defender case, but it was a huge case that was happening in the county at the time. It was, I believe the charges were rape. There was a little kid on the stand, and the defense, actually, they got an acquittal in that case. So the defense attorney was really, really aggressive with a minor child, right? And the reason they were aggressive is because obviously a minor child cannot withstand aggressive cross-examination, and I guess zealous advocacy by all means for some people. But under those circumstances, though, the reason why I bring this up is because one of my colleagues was upset with the not the cross-examiner, with the defense attorney because he was aggressive in his questioning of the minor. And there was a whole discussion about how that attorney could only get away with being so aggressive because it was a bench trial. as opposed to a jury trial. And I mentioned this when it comes to Hank Brennan. I think again it was Wolf. During voir dire, no. During, I don't remember which motion it was. So some motion, I think it was some voir dire of Wolf. During that cross examination, he was really aggressive with Wolf. But at the trial itself, he was a bit more toned down. And to me, as I was thinking about the two different approaches he took, okay, during the voir dire, the jury was not there. He was aggressive. In front of the jury, he was a bit more toned down or a bit more tame. To me, him being more toned down in front of the jury was not as effective in getting the responses that he needed to elicit out of Wolf. As far as to Russell, to me, Russell is junk science. Russell is really junk science. Nobody can convince me otherwise. As far as to, was it Lozada? Is that her name? I did not watch that cross-examination, so I really have no opinion on his way of cross-examining there. And then as to your point as to why the Commonwealth brought the charges, that is not a Hank Brennan issue. That would be an issue for the head of the department. And again, we have to consider the fact that this is the victim in this case is somebody that worked in law enforcement. Okay, the prosecution's office or the Commonwealth and the sheriff's office, the police department, or whatever they're called out there in Canton, they're supposed to be an extension of the executive. Okay, so I suppose I'm just imagining the reason why they felt strongly about this is because John O'Keefe was one of them. And to me, it might be a way of sending a signal or message to other people that are on the force that if something was to happen to you, not just in the line of duty, but even if you're out drinking at 2 or 3 or whatever, midnight, we will bring charges. So I think that's part of the reason. And they might also just do things differently out there in Canton. Maybe this is the first trial that they've had in 60 years. And oftentimes there's some jurisdictions where I'd once had jurisdiction. I once lived in a jurisdiction where murder was actually really rare. That's not, I'm not going to say the city or the county, but that's a crime that rarely occurred. At the time, because I know I appeared for an arraignment on a murder charge, and I think that was probably the first charge in like 40 years or something along those lines. So under those, I actually need to look up that kid, but under those circumstances, if it's a place where you don't usually have serious charges and a serious charge lands in your lap, you kind of feel obligated to do something. But I think overall, the main reason why the Commonwealth decided to bring these charges is because John O'Keefe is part of law enforcement and they're trying to maintain those relationships. I think that was the driving force. Because up here, I mentioned before, when I was a prosecutor, there was every once in a while, I think about really old cases. And this is an old case because the last time I was a prosecutor must have been about 11 years ago. I don't quite remember. The math is off. Or is it 11 years ago or 10 years ago? I don't remember. It doesn't matter. But at the time that I got to that office, it's not a case I worked on, but it's one of those gnarly pros cases because it was 2 individuals, 2 men. They went out hunting and only one of them returned. So the one actually shot the other guy, killed him, but he claimed that he thought it was, did he say he thought it was a deer or something? I don't remember what his explanation was, but the prosecution just could not prove. We could not prove that he had done it intentionally, or I don't know. My colleague thought the one guy must have been sleeping with the other guy's wife. We don't know. That might be just a rumor. But and again, it also depends on the prosecutors, because with Fonnie Willis, if you go back to that YSL trial, she brought charges that I guess she was trying to make a name for herself. So politics involved in that as well. So there are a number of reasons. Let me see. What is the other thing that you said that I did not address? I don't remember.
I wanna clarify, and I know Ali has to speak. Of course, we can understand
What's
why
up?
they brought
Mm-hmm.
charges. I meant, I guess, to say, I thought this was known. Why would they bring charges after reviewing the evidence? I understand. Yes, John O'Keefe was a Boston police officer. He deserved a proper investigation. He deserves justice. We stand on that. Once they reviewed the evidence and saw what it really was, that's what I'm saying. Why would they bring the charges against her? It's a problem. Even if she did it, even if she did it, once that investigation was tainted, game over. Why even go forward? I just wanted to clarify that. That's what I really meant.
Okay.
Um, but you answered all my questions. Thank you. The
You're welcome.
the cross examination of Dr. Lapasale, I don't know, you probably will never have time. That's actually a good one to watch because I mean, you're probably not going to change your opinion on Brennan, but
No,
all his
Brendan is
technique,
good.
yeah.
Brendan is really good.
In that cross examination, all his techniques didn't work. She
Yeah.
just kept slapping him back. Like it actually backfired. And the answer she gave was not what he wanted. He did not want the jury to keep hearing her say, no, there was no collision. No, the car never struck him. I mean, like she kept reiterating that it was not what he thought or what theory he was trying to present to the jury. She didn't give him not an inch
Yeah.
at all.
And I mean, that's good because I think we've seen that with 3 witnesses. Because I've gone on about Russell. I still think she's junk science. But what I did like about Russell is the fact that she kept insisting that there was no collision. And that is what you want from your expert. Okay. That is what you want from your expert. There was somebody else. It was somebody from it was some expert from the defense side. That guy, I just remember his face. I remember what he said that just set me off, where he pretty much said the quiet part out loud. He said something along the lines of he does or he compiles a report based on what his client asks. No, he didn't compile a report. He said that he just does whatever the client tells him to do. And I did not like that response. So, but again, Russell, junk science, but she does make a good witness. And here's the other thing, though. I just had if we go to defense, right? To me, I am still of the opinion that the best defense attorney on that team is Alessi. Okay. However, if we go back, it was cross-examination of who? I don't know. Brooklyn would remember because we talked about this. Cross-examination of some expert and Alessi just flopped. That does not mean that he's not a good attorney. Sometimes you're just flailing and flopping around. Allie, do you have any words? Any words, Allie? And then Jason.
Wait. Yeah, I'm back. Sorry.
Okay, what's up? What's up, Allie?
What's up? Real thing.
What's up? What do you think of the verdict?
I don't know. I just don't understand how they just bypassed all the. What about the phone data?
What do you mean?
All the phone data where he didn't move within a certain time, and like, how did his phone just stay there?
Okay, so I think I understand what you're saying, Allie. I suppose you're referring to the data, Karen Reed.
The health data on John O'Keefe's phone.
I think the biggest problem in this case is just the way the investigation was handled. I don't know that anything would have changed any of that. And I've said that before. There's a difference between factual truth and substantive truth. Under these circumstances, Michael Proctor had tainted the facts, the investigation to it was beyond repair. There's nothing that the prosecution could have done in order to make matters any better for themselves. And frankly, I think that's the way. This is somebody from. This is me with my public defender hat on. I think
Mhm.
that's how the law should work. If you're not doing everything according to the book, especially if you are part of law enforcement, then I don't know that you should be allowed to benefit from that and deprive people of their liberties. So those are my 2 cents. But again, I think that what is this? Karen Reed's words also speak for themselves, but even given that, I don't know that individuals should be deprived of their liberties if law enforcement is not doing everything according to the book.
Yeah, she may have done it. And because the investigation was not completed properly, honestly, thoroughly,
Right.
we'll never know. And I think most people are saying, like, we're okay, the science, especially when we're talking about, like, how could he fall back and hit his head when we get into that stuff. There is still some debate about, did she really? I mean, it would take some force, it would take some momentum, right? So she would need to reverse really fast to, like, really knock him over. But even if she clipped him, would he have fallen? Even if if we bypass all of that,
Mm-hmm.
because maybe it did happen. Everyone was really horny in on the investigation,
Right.
just the doctoring it up, not finding no tail light until her car was seized, stuff like that. It's just like, forget it. You've blown it. Maybe she did do it, but now you can't even convict her. So
Yeah.
game over. Don't do it. I
Yeah.
just want to let you know, you asked were the O'Keefes in the courtroom today.
Mm-hmm.
The usuals were there except for the mother,
Mm.
Peggy O'Keefe. You're on Law and Crime, so they had a different angle.
Ah.
They have, Karen, because you're gonna see her actually have a reaction with the first not guilty being read.
Okay.
Her body kind of jerked. But the other channels had the view, just basically, I guess it's the camera from the jury.
Mm-hmm.
How it's just like pointing across the courtroom,
Yeah.
and you can see Paul O'Keefe's face
Yeah.
when the two not guilty verdicts are read, and he puts his head down, and then after they done, the family quickly stands up and walk out.
Mm. Okay. I see. I see. Thank you for that. Ali, anything else you want to contribute?
No, I just think, well, I don't know. I kind of was in and out, but real thing was talking about Brennan and his cross examination of witnesses. But
Yeah.
I just think, like, what really got me was during Jackson's closing statements, and he's out there calling up, talking about Brennan and all these things he did. And I think, I don't know, it kind of was just, I think, dirty because, like, Brennan
So
should,
it is dirty.
yeah,
Like,
Jackson should be
Jackson is
one to talk
dirty.
about his ethical stuff. And I think it was just really unfair because he did all his stuff not in front of the jury, where Brennan was kind of more aggressive in front of the jury.
Was Brennan really more aggressive in front of the jury? I thought that would
Well,
have.
the way he was questioning witnesses and stuff like that. But Jackson, his stuff was more behind the scenes, like when he was messaging the one with.
To me, that's unforgivable. I think what I need to do is I'm gonna.
I think it was just a bad case all around.
No,
Like
that was
every.
a terrible. That was a difficult case. This case, if you compare this case to the kid out of Florida, this is a difficult case. The Florida case would have been easy, but for what was that? The stand your ground defense in Florida. So there's no question. This was a difficult case. I don't know that it's as difficult as that difference though, because Brian Kohlberger, that case is more difficult for the defense. I don't know how they. I don't know. I don't even want to think about Brian Kohlberger right now. Real thing. What do you have to say?
Nothing else. I mean, like, in response to what Ali is saying.
No, I don't know. You had unmuted your mic. I just thought you wanted to say something.
Oh no, I was reading of, how do you say his name? Fever.
Yeah.
I was
I need
reading
to catch up.
his comment. He said, "It's not if she did do it. She said
Dang.
it. She
Fever,
said it." And I disagree. That's
fever was out
debatable.
there in
Did she
Canada.
actually confess? Did she actually say she did it? No. The lady said, the doctor said it's called acute trauma reaction.
That was
But
nice.
all her interviews that she did, I don't know. It sounds
You,
like she was
Allie,
second guessing herself. Like, did I hit him? Did I not hit him? We were
yeah,
drunk. Like,
yeah,
I don't think anyone knows what happened except for those who were there, clearly. But
I agree. She was questioning it. Yes, not stating that she did. I believe she was like trying to figure
It
it out
was
too.
something
Like,
else.
did she, like, she really was thinking, like, did she do it? Like, drunk, couldn't really remember the night.
I don't know. To me, here are things that stand out to me as it comes to. Let me find. There's an interview, man. I meant to look that up. I know I've been talking about this interview. There's an interview from way back. This was before the first trial even started. I'm going to have to go through my conversations with Callie. Let me find the link, and I believe we'll be up here tomorrow if Michael Proctor's interview is not already up. There's an interview from, man, it was before the first trial. And that interview, I don't know. The interview made me, I would not say that it made me feel uneasy, but it made me take a closer look at Karen Reed. And this was before she was going before, before she was sitting in studios or being interviewed in a home. It was on the court steps. Let me first find the interview and then I'll give my commentary on that. Otherwise, it won't make sense. But here's the thing, when it comes to the facts in Karen Reed's case, a lot of things do not make sense about her conduct. Okay, the very first part or the very first instance of her conduct is her reaching out to, I think her name was Carrie or somebody, Carrie and Jen, and her first suggestion is that this man was hit by a snowplow. Okay, to me that does not make sense. If you drop this man off at a home, or if you think that he's cheating, if you think, listen, if you think that dude is out there cheating, then this is when you're sending those messages and text messages, you crazy, you're going on and carrying on. But to me, it does not make sense to be reaching out to people and saying that you think he was hit by a snow, that shit doesn't make sense to me. But also the statements to the niece, I just didn't never wrote those statements down because again, she did not testify in open court, so I had to go back to court TV, and I had to they were sitting in a bar or something, so I had to listen to a lot of that recap where they were recapping what her testimony was. But again, from what I recall, at least what my impressions were when I heard what Karen Reed was saying to this girl, it made me question. It didn't make sense. It didn't line up. But I've always maintained whether she, again, that distinction between factual truth and substantive truth, whether she actually hit the man and ran him over and left him out there to die, has little impact on the substantive portion of what the jurors had to consider. So,
But how did she also know that morning where to find him? Like, you didn't just show up to the Albert's house and just be able to say, oh, there's John in the snow, because nobody else happened to find him there.
Jim McCabe said, she said no, because okay, let me say this before I explain. Every time you bring up like her conduct, her behavior, I can go along with it if she was sober. She was very drunk. She was very drunk. Very drunk, of course, a few hours later that morning. I know y'all have been, I mean, I shouldn't assume, but I am assuming y'all have been around very drunk people. Like their thoughts, it's erratic. She's not making sense. She's trying to make sense. She know he should be home. I get it. Y'all may believe she did do it. Even if she caught herself trying to throw it off, like she know what she did, but she trying to throw it off by bringing up a snow plow, leaving him at the waterfall. My interpretation is she drunk. She don't even know what she's saying. She like pulling like fragments of memory from the hours before. She doesn't know what she's saying. Number one. So once Carrie and Jim McCabe are gonna now help her find John, it's Jim McCabe that reminds her. When she says, I left him at the waterfall, Jen says, no, I saw you pull up to my sister's house last night. Like, no, you didn't leave him there. You came to my sister's house on Fairview. So now that's why they got in the car and began to search and went down Fairview and all of that. It's not that she knew that he would be there per se, but she was the first to recognize him in the snow, obviously.
Finders keepers. Finders keepers. Go ahead. Go
Yes.
ahead.
So there is a video, of course. Any questions y'all got? Trust, there is a YouTube video that will answer your question.
There
But
are conspiracies everywhere. Like,
the way that she was in the back seat of the of Carrie's car, you could see how she could have more of a view. She got the back, her window view, and she got the full front of the front window view as well. She's really looking, and I mean, just because she found them first, I don't think that means she's guilty or she knew he was there. She just happened to spot him because she said she was looking out both windows. She's looking.
it
She's
doesn't
looking.
matter. Ultimately, it really does not matter.
It doesn't. Yeah.
So, yeah, let's see what Fever is going in it. Fever is like facts.
There are like a little trailer clip of Proctor's 2020 interview on YouTube right now. Somebody's gonna pull up the whole interview within the next few hours. But
yeah,
back to what Enzo was saying, it's just a trailer clip of Proctor on YouTube.
No, I saw something. I thought this was from Brooklyn because Brooklyn says good clip, but this is actually from, I don't know, June 15th, whenever that was. So I suppose let's do this. Let's come back. Let's keep this discussion going. But the bootlegger, somebody's gonna have Proctor up there, and we get to watch Proctor tomorrow because I was just gonna enjoy my Juneteenth. I was just gonna be up here eating greens. But okay, I'll be up here. But let's watch the rest of this though.
Be prepared to go forward today.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, too many sidebars. That's the one thing hold on. I need to watch them. Who's this black lady? I saw her in court. Was it yesterday or the day before? Where did they find this black lady from?
She seems to be definitely friends of the family. I see her talking a lot with Kieran's mother. So she may be some support.
Yeah.
A neighbor, maybe.
All right. So, Ms. Giannetti, you ready to go forward today as well?
Yes, please.
Okay, Mr. Brennan, what's the Commonwealth's recommendation?
Your Honor, the Commonwealth moves to sentencing. We recommend a probation 1 year 24D program.
So
there we go. Listen, real thing, you cannot turn me against Hank Brennan. Hank Brennan goes out there and recommends probation, okay? Because he knows his stuff, all right? He said 1 year. I've talked about this over and over again. I freaking hate probation. Again, probation makes sense because obviously people are not incarcerated. But the problem is if you have a drinking problem, then you're going to be in real trouble. You're going to end up in real trouble.
Yeah, he did the right thing.
I mean,
he wasn't going to get anything else anyway. He could try.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. He could have tried, but he didn't. So he recommended probation.
The standard that everybody else gets on a first-time OUI?
Certainly.
Okay.
We ask that she be treated no differently, no better.
So I'm happy to do it. All right. Thank you all.
1 year probation on docket number 002, the less.
We're going to get a movie or something. We need to get a movie. Not a live. I want a Lifetime or Tubi movie, though. Like.
So hold on. Aaliyah wants to say hi.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi, Aaliyah.
Hi.
What are you doing?
Yeah, at home.
Oh, you're at home? What did your mother feed you today?
No.
She didn't feed you?
Yeah, you got hamburgers. What are you talking about?
She did not feed you? Allie, you need to... What's that?
Yeah, she's having burgers.
Oh, you're having burgers? Can you send me some?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want me to send you my P.O. box?
No.
No, you don't want to share? Aaliyah, you need to share your burgers with me. Do you have cheese on your burger or no?
No.
No, you don't like cheese. My daughter doesn't like cheese.
Yeah. Say bye. Bye.
Bye. All right, Junior Co-Counsel. Dang, fever is going in. Fever is going in.
Included offense of operating under the influence, 1 year probation. Thank you. The 24D program is. Thank you.
Victory. Victory for Karen Reed.
Real thing said, real thing said they've been victorious. Okay.
Look at that.
Yeah, it's over. I would not have, if this case was hung again, I would not have done it a third time. I'm sorry. Nope.
Goodbye.
Gone. Dang, they just said goodbye like that.
Did you hear Alan Jackson's high mic moment? He said that in frustration.
What did he say?
I can't do this again.
Oh, yeah.
I can't do this again.
Yeah. I definitely cannot do this. And I'm not even really on this case. Like, of all these cases that we've seen on, what is this, Law and Crime and Court TV, the only case that I would willingly insert myself in has to be Luigi Mangione. That Luigi Mangione case is worth something. The rest of these, I don't know. I don't know about this. Well, I think my daughter just woke up. She was asleep. I don't know who this is, but she's touched.
Yeah, very emotional.
Yeah. All right, let's fast forward to the folks outside. Don't go. This is just a lot of screaming. I don't have time for that. Does anybody actually say anything? You need to
Yeah,
get a boo-boo.
they have like a press conference.
What's that?
Yeah, they have. There it is. Yeah, they have a press conference. You were just there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was a press conference
All right, all right, I'm coming.
at the podium.
Dang. Did I go past it?
Y'all, you gonna. I already know y'all gonna have something to say about what was said at the podium.
Oh, you know I'm gonna have something to say. All right, I'm gonna push it back a few minutes because I need to parent a little bit. You guys listen to these people cheering, okay? All right, I'm back. Fever said that for probation, you just have to stay out of trouble. Yeah, sometimes it's easier. It's easier said than done. Then it depends on lifestyle. Fever is sick. Fever is sick to his stomach. He cannot handle it.
He misunderstood the question.
Huh?
Alan Jackson misunderstood the question.
What was the question?
Should this case be reopened?
Oh,
He meant to say, should the investigation be reopened?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
And really, I wish that, I mean, it is what it is. It's her life. Karen Reed, instead of saying that, it would have been best to just state the facts that they should have did a proper investigation. Should have, I get what she's trying to say, but she can tell the truth and say, no, she fought for her own life. She had to fight for her life. And they should have did a proper investigation. John O'Keefe deserved that. And be gracious about it to say, hey, sorry to the family, but they should have did a proper investigation and leave it at that.
Right, that's off. Alexa, remind me UPS tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. Yeah, that's I don't know. What's the status here?
No, the case cannot be reopened. Alan, this case is over. No, I mean, what is the larger issue? What does this say? Say about justice. I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it to Karen. Her dad has a comment.
Is this my computer? Are those the camera? Okay, this cannot be.
I want to acknowledge the strength of our daughter Karen, the support of the entire Reed extended family. I want to acknowledge the greatest team.
Were any jurors? This is too loud. Were any jurors interviewed?
Not yet.
So probably interviews are going to be coming in tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what Court TV has going on. Oh, let's read the comments. We have to read the comments. Okay, apparently one of the greatest defense teams ever assembled. The FBI should launch serious investigations. Corrupt. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah, blah. Someone needs to be accountable. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, right. The jury slip was so confusing. Even the court clerk had a hard time reading it. Okay. Let's go. All right, let's quickly go to Court TV. Maybe they have some coverage out there. Let's see.
Brutal
Sorry, I got distracted. What is this? Why is Tamron Hall on here? I don't know.
That's a show she covers for them.
Court TV?
Someone they knew.
I thought she had a daytime TV where she talks about.
She does. She does both.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. I did not know that. All right, let's see. Do they have any? No, that's just the video. I tried to watch this trial today, but I don't know. Okay, Vinny, that's 7 hours ago, though, so that's not going to be good. That's 6 minutes. Yeah, I think we have to come back here tomorrow. Michael Proctor, 1 hour ago. Okay, so I suppose Michael Proctor is not moving. He is staying out there. That's why he's doing this interview. Let's see what they have to say.
At what point did you develop such strong negative feelings about Karen Reed that you would say things like, hopefully she kills herself, or calling her the C word?
Those feelings developed.
Hey, he looks different. He looks stressed out as fuck.
Yeah, he's gained weight. I mean, he's stressed.
I get he brought that upon himself. So there's no sympathy there. He brought that upon himself.
As the case went on.
I mean, can you see how people might think, he was caught in this instance speaking about a suspect in this way. Maybe it's happened in other cases as well.
I 100% understand why people would think that. But when you have, a fellow police officer around my age, 2 kids of his own, it generates an emotion. And I express those emotions in a negative way.
Well, they should have put this man on the stand.
Which I shouldn't have. I shouldn't even, been texting my friends anything. They are what they are. They don't define me as a person. They're regrettable.
Why'd they cancel my order? They should have put that man on the stand. That's what they should have done. But, trial and error, trial and error. The biggest lesson from here, don't hide your bad facts. All right, that's it, folks. Anything else? Anything else you want to get into? Okay, apparently it was more clear on Court TV. Facts, you're right. Depends on your lifestyle. You're definitely right about that. No, it's no reason to reopen. Fever is something else. Fever is something else. All right, real thing. Ali, any closing arguments? We've not done that in a
Well,
long
it
time.
sounds like the Commonwealth should have hired Fever as the special prosecutor.
Oh, yeah.
He would have did a better job than Hank Brennan. That's my closing argument.
Okay.
Shout out to Fever.
Shout out to Fever. Allie might be out there parenting. Closing argument?
No, I can't top off what Real Thing just said.
Yeah, shout out to Fever. Is that your closing?
Yeah, that's my closing.
All right, folks. So my closing. This was let me see. Definitely not the case that I was looking forward to the most. I think my number one is definitely still that Brian Kohlberger. Okay. We'll get apparently Court TV be lit. We'll get into, because I don't know that I want to start any new trials right now, because I thought we were going to get started on Cash Out, but I just cannot find the feed. I cannot find the footage. So
I can't find it either.
Which is odd, because I'm pretty certain that sometime last week I saw that streaming. I saw it streaming.
They streamed opening statements because if you go on Flesh of the Gods covered opening statements live.
So that's it? Just the opening?
I don't know. I never seen anything else after that.
That's crazy. Okay, so I suppose we don't. Oh, Benji said awesome stream. Thank you, Benji. You need to come up here, okay? Let's find a case out there in California so you can come up here and give us, your opinions. All right, so as far as next trial, I don't exactly know where we're going. Some cases I want to redo. I still want to go back to Johnson. I forgot her first name. Georgia, the prosecutor. I forgot. What was the first? I know it's not Paula. I want to say Paula, but that's not. You should know this Real Thing. What's that prosecutor's name?
Which one?
Johnson. She was on trial in January.
Oh, Jackie,
there we go. So I'm trying to figure out if we start a new trial or if we just revisit some of the trials that I'm primarily interested in. Maybe I just do a video, but editing takes me forever. So I don't even know. I don't even know if I should go there. That said, though, or maybe we just get into Brian Kohlberg. Let me give it some thought. The Connecticut case, I'm not interested in. Let's quickly go to Court. Is this Court TV? No. Let's go to Court TV. Let's see what they're showing here. I'm not interested in this case at all. Okay. Yeah, she got convicted yesterday. Dang, Lori, I hate that Lori was taking place at the same time as this Karen Reed trial, because I would have, maybe we rewatch Lori. I don't know. Let's see. There's nothing else going on. Yeah, there's nothing else. There's nothing else going on.
do you think the judge is going to agree to delay the Kohlberger trial? Probably not.
I was just getting into that today. What I saw, because I know he had a hearing today. I could not tune in, though. That was around 2 p.m. I had to avoid opening anything because I did not want to inadvertently find out about the verdict, but I did find out about the current Karen Reed verdict. But what has me a little puzzled about Kohlberger is this new witness that supposedly saw him.
The
So
DoorDash driver?
I saw it. Let me see if I have too many tabs open. Girl, you need to do better. There was somebody that was interviewed on video.
Yeah, the DoorDash driver.
Okay.
Which makes sense because when we saw that she had just delivered before the I don't even want to think about what happened, but she had just made that delivery, so people were already speculating like, did the DoorDash driver see whoever did this? And sure enough,
Yeah, I don't know. So I suppose that's just going to be the next trial because I don't know that I can get into anything else. This Diddy stuff, I don't know. It's too gross for me. I don't know that I can do the Diddy stuff. Even though, I mean, FIFA did enjoy some of my commentary though, because I'm out of control. I need to be stopped. Maybe I do come back with some of the Diddy stuff, but I hate covering celebrity cases. I don't like covering celebrity cases. Even last night when I found out Tyler Perry is being sued, I was like, oh, should I go live? But I'm like, nah, leave that stuff alone.
Oh, yeah, so that case in South Carolina you were talking about?
What's that? Megan or whatever her name is?
Yeah, you can cover that one. It's really short. They're already on closing statements today.
She was convicted. Wasn't she convicted yesterday?
No, I don't think so.
Really? I thought she was convicted yesterday. Let's see.
Did I miss a day?
I think she was convicted yesterday. Let's see, Court TV. But that woman, when I saw her kid testify against her, brutal. And when they said that her lover was going to testify, I'm like, oh, I don't know. Yeah, I think she was convicted yesterday. Let's see. I think no, I actually did watch sentencing. I think she was convicted. I think they convicted her in no time.
Oh, Brooklyn's saying, yeah, the verdict was yesterday. I missed the day.
Yeah, so yeah, I watched the sentencing yesterday. They convicted her. There were victim impact statements from her daughter, her stepson, and listen, what is that? Oftentimes, if you have somebody on the stand, they're pointing the finger at you, you're probably going away. But in this case, though, her own daughter testified against her, and then the lover testified against her. So, yeah, this is tough because apparently the stepson had to take in the younger children, and it's just, I don't know. Like, yeah, we'll leave it at that. Viva said, facts. What on earth is Viva talking about? Okay. Apparently, she had Amber Heard tears. I don't know. I'm pretty sure Amber Heard and her supporters disagree with you, but okay, folks, let us call it a night. I suppose we will wait to see. We'll wait to see if what's his name again, Michael Proctor, gets interviewed. If he gets interviewed, then we will be up here at 8:30 p.m. I should not be tired tomorrow, so 8:30 for sure. So if he's interviewed, we get up here at 8:30 p.m. tomorrow. If not, I'll put out some shorts, okay? And then we will reconvene on Tuesday. And then honestly, we're gonna start with Brian Kohlberger, okay? Let's get everybody caught up. I don't know that we can cover what is this, June? I don't know of any other interesting cases that are coming up. There's another case out of Florida that I wanted to cover, though. It's an old case. It's around December, January, I believe. So we can cover that one, and then we can just focus on, I suppose, cases as they go to trial. All right, that's enough rambling. God damn, I do talk a lot.
is there any way how can we get Jerome and Obag and everybody over to this channel? I feel like they're still on the old channel. We've abandoned them.
So yeah, because I was gonna go back to that channel, but what I found out is that for what is this? In order to do away with the ads, I have to have I have to purchase YouTube Premium for both channels. I cannot do that. So I cannot do that. That's my spending. That's my
You
vacation.
sure?
Yeah. Yeah,
Because
yeah, yeah.
mine has it where I can have 5 accounts.
Yeah, that's because you're on the same account. I have two different accounts. I'm using two different emails and
Yeah.
are connected. Really?
Yeah. It's 2 different accounts, 2 different emails.
I don't know. I'll have to. I'll need a technician to help me out. My man will be out here in 3 weeks. He'll
Okay.
help me out with that. Yeah. But the way I read AI is also not accurate. They made it seem that they made it seem like I could only do that if it's the same account and not separate accounts. So
No, YouTube Premium, the membership I have, it's one payment per month, $29.99 for up to 5 different accounts, like a family plan type of thing. If you want it to be, you could put any 5 accounts or emails you want.
all
But
right.
yeah, please confirm.
Okay, so I'll let my man deal with that in 3 weeks, and if he can, he should be able to do that. I don't know why he wouldn't be able to do that, but in case I forget and he doesn't get to it before he goes back to Louisiana, then I might need your help to get this thing together. Okay,
Hey, thanks for telling us where your man's at.
I've always said that. It's no
No, you've never
secret.
said that.
Yes, I have. Last Thanksgiving, I was in Mississippi. I landed in New Orleans. We went to Mississippi, and then I went back to Baton Rouge. Yes, I have. I've always said that.
It's all good. It's all good. We'll
What did
meet
you
him one
say?
day. We're not
What's
gonna
that?
track him down. We'll meet him one day.
I mean, he showed up on the no, it's on the old channel. He showed up. It just was not obvious that he was him, but he did.
Oh,
pop
was he in the chat?
Yeah.
once before, but
Nice.
you'd have to go read the old chats to figure out who that person is. So you know it's somebody that doesn't show up all the time. It very well could have been the Enzo that popped up here. We don't know.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah. So we'll sort that out. You see Jason sending me some love. So to your question though, real thing. I don't know what Jerome's up to. I heard that Jerome started a new channel.
Yeah, he did.
I reached out to him. He confirmed apparently he'll only share it with me once things are sorted, whatever that means. As for Old Bag, I do hope that things are well with Old Bag because it's unlike her to go a lengthy amount of time without sending me an email, even if it's just a random email. So yeah. But I did reach out to her. Maybe I do get a response in a few months. If not, then I do hope things are well with her and her loved ones.
I'll send you the link to Jerome's channel. I have it.
Girl, you did not send it to me. I've been waiting and waiting.
Because you said you talked to Jerome, so I thought he sent it to you.
No. You did not send it. I have my email open right now. You're not in here.
I know I'm not in there, but I'll send it to you.
Are you saying you sent it or you're going to
No,
send it?
I'll send it.
Allie, do you know how many things you said you're going to do that you didn't do? Okay, no pressure. But if you do get the chance, then you can send that my way. Yeah, but for real thing, I hope things are well with her. I just do not know. So
Okay.
yeah, I said real thing. I mean old bag.
I know what you meant.
Yeah, hopefully things are good with her, but I've not heard from her. And then we'll figure out what is that. And I abandoned that channel, but more people comment on that channel though. So I don't know. Like I get notifications like every week of people commenting and asking for stuff, but I'm one person. Cannot divide myself like that. So all right, folks. Again, the plan for next week, we start with Brian Koberger. And last night I mentioned that I want to start a series called Shut the Fuck Up Friday. And a lot of that is really, there's already a video. I just have to edit. It's always the case. I always have to edit. Like, I always have to edit. But this is what I'm going to do. I will only start posting those videos once I have at least 4 or 5 videos already lined up and scheduled. So that way you guys don't have to wait. And every Friday, you know, there's a video going to be out. Okay. That's how I'll do it. So I'll probably push it out to next week. So I have enough videos. But again, the real case we're moving on to, we're moving over to Brian Kohlberger. Again, I don't have any real interest in any of the other cases that are streaming right now. I wish I could stream Judge McBurney, but that's just, I'm not trying to fuck up my license. I'm not doing that. As far as, do you guys ever watch Judge Boyd? Do you
Yes,
guys know who that
Stephanie
is?
Boyd. Yes,
What is her actual channel? Does she have an actual channel?
she does.
Okay.
Let me see. I think I have to go out. Hold on.
Okay.
One moment.
All right, we are waiting for real thing. Let me see, what else do we have here? I don't know. Something's I don't know if it's law and crime or maybe that's just the content that they have. But I'm getting sick of these law and crime videos that are always centered around teachers sleeping with children. Like I don't know. I'm tired. I don't know why they keep. I don't know why that's the content. Maybe it's important. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But it's just. I've had enough of it. I don't want to see that stuff on my timeline. Let's see. Where else are we? Let's see.
Okay, her channel is. If you put in Judge Stephanie Boyd, it will come up.
Is it PH or F?
PH.
Okay. Boyd. Oh, that's her. All right, let me take a look. I think she's based out of Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna have to take a look at
San Antonio.
Oh, I did not know that. Okay.
Mhm.
Let me take a look at what her rules are regarding streaming. If it's permissible, then we'll cover some of her cases. If not, we need to move on to something. There's also a judge that's always wearing a bow tie. I don't know his name. I've seen him a few times. You
I
know,
don't really follow him, but his name is Flesher. Flesher.
Flesher.
If I'm pronouncing that right.
All right, so let's get into Judge Stephanie Boyd over here. I'll look up those rules. If it's good to go, then we move on to her. Otherwise, I'll just be. Oh, Meg Shard was in Judge McBurney's courtroom yesterday. That was a sight to see. I don't know if you watch Judge McBurney or not, but
I do. I do.
I think
Absolutely.
he's brilliant. I think he's the best judge on TV or my computer. I really do. I like
Most
him.
concur. Yeah.
What's that?
I said most concur. Most of
Yeah,
us
but
agree.
somebody criticized him. I think I went on his channel. Was it yesterday? Somebody had a comment in there, and they did not like the judge. And I was like,
Well, yeah, he gets that. And you know what? He throws it right back. You see, he called himself Judge McRurdy.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother him. He
Yeah.
just plays along with it, like, whatever. You know, I like that he's long-winded and thorough. Very thorough.
Like, he is long-winded.
You're gonna understand from A to Z when he get through.
Right. Yeah, I definitely enjoy his courtroom. I really do. Too bad. I won't be moving to Georgia. That's terrible. But
Yeah. They I think they said Adrian Love is prosecuting a new RICO.
yeah, that's the cash out case that Alex
Cash out.
was talking about. Yeah, the problem is I'd have loved to see Love though. I'd have loved to see what she's up to.
They did not let her do opening statements.
Oh, really?
Nope,
Maybe
she
we'll
was
come
not
up here and
allowed.
talk about her.
But you know, Cash Out's lawyers are Matthews Senior and Matthews Junior, the same
Right.
ones who represented Huey in the last RICO, the father and son.
The ones with the good beard.
Yeah.
Yeah. I suppose these people run into each other all the time, which makes sense because they're all in Fulton County. But I don't, and that's why I guess it's important to maintain relationships because otherwise it makes your job a little miserable if you have to go up against love and you despise her all the time. So, all right, folks, that's me over talking. I'm always talking. So, my closing argument is this, okay? Here's what we've learned from the Kerry trial. Do not hide your bad facts. Definitely do not do poor investigations. If you're going to have a poor investigation, then probably don't take the case to trial. If you take the case to trial, then have the expectation that you are going to lose, okay? Or it's going to be an acquittal. That said, though, um, I think the biggest lesson from here is the fact that the jurors did not reward Michael Proctor's improper conduct. Okay. And as I guess most Karen Reed supporters have said, that is, if it can happen to her as a white woman, then all other white women are concerned that it could happen to them as well. Okay. That's just, I'm sorry. I cannot help myself. I cannot help myself. So that is the lesson here. And then again, what's his name? Hank Brennan, definitely the best attorney we have seen in this trial. He was brilliant. Um, he was really good. They've made, again, I don't know exactly what they could have done better to have a better outcome. What I would have done is put Proctor on the stand so he can explain himself away. Even doing that, I do not know that the prosecution would have been able to get a conviction. Okay. If let me see, what else do we have to say about Karen Reed? Don't put your goddamn client in front of the camera. That makes zero sense. Tomorrow, if we do have any jury interviews, or if the Michael Proctor interviews out, then I'll be up here at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. Okay. But if none of those things occur, then we will reconvene here on Tuesday, and we are moving on to Brian Kohlberger. Brian Kohlberger, we're going to focus. I'd actually taken a lot of notes on Brian Kohlberger because I was following his case, especially a lot last year, and I'll be taking notes and screenshots and clips and this and that. So we will get to revisit a lot of that. Just a window into the future. That Brian Kohlberger case is very difficult for the defense. Oftentimes, I really lean no way when it comes to a criminal case. Oftentimes, I don't make it known which way I'm leaning. But for the Brian Kohlberger case, I'm leaning more towards defense, which sounds weird considering that he is accused of, offing, I think it was 3 college students.
4.
Did I say 3? I'm sorry, I meant 4 because I think it was 3 girls and 1 boy, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right? Real thing?
That is correct.
Okay, so I'm leaning more defense in that case. And the reason why I'm leaning defense is because I am vehemently against the death penalty. I do not agree with the death penalty. I do not agree that a state or government should ever put any of its citizens to death. Not condoning the allegations at this stage, still allegations, but I am highly invested in that case, the same way that I was highly invested in the Cruz case out of Florida. I will not lie, when the jury decided in that case that they were not going to sentence him to death, I was actually relieved. So that's just me putting it out there, okay? We're moving on to Brian Kohlberger. In that case, against the death penalty, and I am definitely leaning towards defense. I don't exactly know. We will have to take a closer look at one of his attorneys. I forgot her name because she was let me not say latest addition, but sometime last year, she was the latest addition to the Brian Kohlberger case. Part of her history is that obviously she's a death penalty attorney, and she was able to get a conviction overturned. So I'll take enough time to research all of that stuff, and then we will work through it as you know, we approach the trial. I still have to go figure out today's proceedings, read up, get myself up to speed, figure out if the trial is going to go or not. If that trial does not go, we do have YNW Melly. I believe it was September 14th or September 11th, one of the two dates. YNW Melly, again, I'm a huge YNW Melly fan. Okay, like trash music, that's my thing. I watched the first trial, so catching up on the second trial should not be too difficult for me. And then that might be how we end the year. I don't see any other cases that I'm really, really interested in, but you never know. Something and anything can come up. Jason says there's a new witness, a DoorDash driver in the Brian Kohlberger case. That is one of the headlines I read today. So I do have to take a closer look at that. And maybe that's what we explore. Actually, you gave me the topic for next Tuesday. That's what we are going to talk about. All right, folks, thank you guys for showing me love. Okay, I do appreciate it because you guys could have been anywhere else, but you're listening to me talking. Here's the other thing, though. My final statement. My predictions are on point. All right, I'm not a fake lawyer. I actually do know what I'm talking about. I did say these folks were going to come up with a verdict out today, and I was leaning towards a conviction on OUI, which is what happened. And that's really it. I can talk and talk and talk. I need to go, you guys. I'm going to parent, okay? You guys have a good night. Oh, and happy Juneteenth, all right? I don't know if I should be saying it. We have a reason to celebrate, okay? So I'm going to say happy Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth to you guys. I hope you do get up to, some celebrations. If not, then celebrate anyways, or do something, pamper yourself. All right, folks, I'm gone. Real thing, Allie. Shout out to my co-counsels, Jason, Brooklyn, Fever, Benji, the replay crew, junior co-counsel, everybody. Okay, thank you for watching. I'm definitely gone. I do
Good
a lot.
night.
All right, good night, real thing. Bye.